Hello, everybody. It is your Uncle Fish back again for School Fish Art Stream. J-Man wants a Gatling gun on the end of his tail. Oh my goodness. J-Man says the tail's where you put all the heavy artillery. Yeah. Said he used to have a howitzer on the end of his tail. What is up, everybody? It is your ever-loving Uncle Fish. Oh, you can't even see me on the screen because I'm cropped off in the corner. What are we doing there? What are we doing there? Come on now. We can do better than that. There we go. Now you can see your Uncle Fishy off in the corner. It's so good to see you again. It's been a hot minute. Anyway, I was doing some inking and stuff anyway, and I figured I would keep working on the book. I'm working on Alice Lost in Wonderland issue 2 right now, working on some of the awesome pages. Gotta make sure that the book is absolutely done by the time the funds get released from Kickstarter, and so it can go straight to the printer, which this time around I am printing in Arkansas, right down the road. So I don't have to wait on any long shipping times. Hopefully it will get shipped to me nice and quickly, and we'll be able to get it turned around and get it out the door really quick. So it's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm going to go ahead and get back to working on some pages. Takes a second for my computer to realize once I've flipped the screen over to work. But yeah, this is a big splash page from Alice Lost in Wonderland issue 2, and Alice and Big Ten are holed up in this sci-fi Wild West tavern and have this poor fella at gunpoint there, as you do when you're a bounty hunter and whatnot and what all. So we got to finish drawing up all his gear. Look all sexy. So that's what we got to do. You got to make everybody look sexy. God, can't have them looking drab and boring. Nobody wants to buy that. Yeah, young Fisher gets kind of weird when he's on here by himself and nobody to talk to. I figured Homie would have some cards stuffed in his belt here because he was clearly cheating. Not part of the not part of the script, not part of the main story, but I just like to put those extra little things in there to kind of give you a little insight into who the guys really are. Little things show you if they're clean or they're grubby, if they're trustworthy or they're crooked. You know, all those little extra things that make the world seem so much richer and more interesting. This is actually a really cool piece of kit that I saw on a old school pilot's uniform. And I really liked how they had this big section in the middle to kind of pad all the belts and stuff that were going across them. So it wasn't just digging straight into their abdomen if, say, they had to pull that parachute or something. I thought that was really cool. So I added that. Totally lifted the vast majority of this thing off of an old school flight suit. Never too big to look at references, get ideas from cool stuff from history. That's the kind of stuff that I think makes a lot of sci-fi so interesting. When they used parts of World War II pilot outfits and stuff in Star Wars, that made the world seem so much richer and more real when you might think using those realistic things would make it feel less fantastic, but it just made it feel more interesting and more grounded and more fantastic, if that's possible. All right, let's start working on some of this background stuff. I gotta say, I'm really grateful for everybody that has already supported Alice Lost in Wonderland issues 1 and 2 live now on Crankstalker or Kickstarter or whatever you need to call it on whatever platform you're on. Well, on TikTok, so I don't guess I gotta be so careful about it. But I really appreciate everybody that's already backed it. I was a little bit worried this time around because I know everybody's feeling the pinch these days, and not everybody has a lot of extra spending money these days. So I really appreciate everybody that came out and supported the Crank Stomper. And if you can't support it right now, I totally understand. No hard feelings whatsoever. But if you could give the campaign a share, I would really appreciate it because the hardest thing is getting seen and getting the word out that the frickin' thing's live these days. I can't tell you how many times either I've had somebody reach out to me and be like, I didn't even know you had a campaign going. Or somebody's been running a campaign of their own for, a month and I had no idea because they just don't show our posts to our fans like they used to. And then some people are really good and really creative at coming up with cool new ways to get people to want to go click a link and check it out or to get people to want to engage with their social media. And then some of us are good at making comic book pages. And it doesn't always cross over as much as you'd hope it would. But to be honest, I have spent the my entire life studying this medium and how to get better at what I do in this medium. And I have not done that with social media. There are lots of people, especially like my kids' age, that have grown up with social media and absolutely have invested the same kind of time into learning how to work that, how it works, and how to work it, like I have with storytelling and illustration and publishing and printing and all of this stuff. I am good at what I've spent my life learning how to do. Other people, what they spent their life learning. Sometimes we need each other's help. That's kind of nice. If you're not careful, it's going to look like a professional comic book artist drew. Throw some scribbles. Make it feel so try not to disconnect this, but I can scratch my disconnect. That's, that's coming along just damn. Computer split second. I am gonna try and share this out to some friends. Share it out to some friends. See if I can't get some folks to pop in and say howdy. Oh, Hutcha, take it outside. Don't nobody care what you got to bark about, Libby. Just gonna copy and paste the little messages to some friends. Let them know that I'm out there in the world. Then I can get back to doing a little drawing. Just whoops, whoops. What did you do, crazy man? Crazy man done turned off his draw. Flip the old computer over. Give it a second. There we go. Oh, we all good, J man. I don't know why it showed up like a suspicious link the way it did. I figured I'd holler at some of my friends, let them know what was going on, since I just kind of popped on out of nowhere. I was on the throwdown with Rodney Fike, and then that was over, and I was like, you know what? I'm already set up, and I'm already working on this page. I might as well just keep going, go live for a little while. Uh, it says content not available. Uh-oh, that's bang. Wonder why I did that. Ah, he's on his phone. That could be the problem. That could quite possibly be it. So, how was your day, J Man? Dang it. Well, darn, it ain't gonna let J Man get on. Ain't gonna let nobody else get on. It ain't gonna play nice. Why you gotta be that way, Facebook? Why can't you be friend? Help Fishy out when he's trying to get the word out about his book. Oh, because I didn't pay you? That's why. Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense. Kyron just gonna keep saying stupid stuff so it'll pop up on screen. Because Kyron's a troublemaker. That's what Kyron is. What's up, Max? The next issue is coming along real well, I should say. That's a splash page right there I'm working on for issue 2, which is live now on Kickstarter at GoMrFish.com. But yeah, it is live, and I'm going to make darn tootin' sure it is ready to go to print when the money gets released from Kickstarter. And this time I'm using a printer that's actually just an hour down the road. And so hopefully it's going to be a real quick turnaround this time too. Last book I got out exactly a month from the time they released the funds. I had everything in and shipped out, which was cool. That felt good. Oh no, it wasn't a month. It was shorter than that. But anyway, it was my fastest time yet, and I was really proud of that because it used to really stress me out the thought of having to do the publishing aspect. And now it's not so scary at all because I've done it a bunch of times. Now I'm really excited this time. We got to do all kinds of neat stuff that I haven't tried before. Like y'all know we did the acrylic figures, and they came out really cool. And there's going to be a new acrylic figure this time as well. But this time we also did miniatures. And these guys are a little bit bigger, so they'll show up on webcam a little bit easier. But you killing me. You are such a thing, my boy. You wonder why I send you so many memes. But yeah, the minis came out really cool, man. Look at Big Ten. Got his rifle, got his glasses and his mustache, and his scarf, the whole 9 yards, man. They came out really cool. And the cool thing is, you can get these as you can get them as actual physical printed minis that I will send out to you, and you can paint yourself, or you can get the STL files and you can print them yourself. So that's really cool. So for people overseas that don't want to pay a lot of shipping, you can get the digital files, print them at your local library or wherever you can find a 3D printer. Or your buddy's got one, you have one. All kinds of cool stuff on the digital side this time. I'm doing audio read throughs, like read alongs of the books, because I know for a fact, like, especially because a lot of my fan base comes from the Tourette's world and stuff too. I know I've got a lot of fans that are dyslexic and stuff, so I wanted to be sure that why not make it easier for them to be able to read along too. So I'm doing the audio read along. It's part of the bigger digital package and all kinds of cool stuff. So I figured anything to make those packages cooler too um, is awesome. So we're doing that. I'm excited. We'll see how it goes. Maybe people will like it and we'll do a whole bunch of them. I may or may not already have a guy working on a set for the Green Zone trade because I just thought they would be cool to have on there, and I also already have all the models and stuff in 3D for all the vehicles and stuff from Green Zone. So that could be a really cool milestone reward to unlock down the road as it goes on. Um, but yeah, I'm excited about it. It's going to be cool. The minis are cool. The acrylic standees are cool. We got a new T-shirt being released this time. It's just the Alice logo that I think is neat, and I hope some people like. But also, you can get the original Alice shirt from the first campaign. You can get all kinds of shirts as add-ons. Even the Mr. Fish comic shirt is available for the very first time as an add-on. Never before offered to the public. It is available this time as well. So that is super cool. Oh, y'all hush up. Gotta put all the little details into the little band in the dude's tentacles, patting my head while I'm live streaming. Punk, gonna make my fans think less of me, think I'm less of a man because my boy patted my head. How will I face J Man in the morning when he knows that my boy just walked by and patted my scalp? Can't have people thinking my kids love me. What happened to my street cred? If you're talking to me, I can't hear you. I got earbuds now. Y'all might be hearing, but I can't. Oh man, I feel you on the finances, man. And that's something I was talking with another creator the other day, and we were just talking about like what things had done good for us and what kind of add-ons had been profitable and that, worked out well and people liked and stuff, because there's always lots of cool stuff and you're like, oh, I want to do that. But like if it didn't do well or people didn't like it, you don't need to waste a bunch of money doing something just because you think it's cool if people don't like it or people haven't asked for it and haven't given you any indication they actually want that thing. And so I was talking with this other creator about stuff they'd done, and we were talking about t-shirts, and we both do our t-shirts the same way. We both, you know, buy high quality, nice shirts, like off of Jiffy Shirts or whatever. Buy nice, high quality shirts that you actually want to wear, and then do DTF prints and press them ourselves and stuff. So we're doing like the same thing. And she was doing them, uh, she was doing the prints cheaper. She was doing the t shirts cheaper than I was. And I ran the numbers on it, uh, back and forth. And I ran the numbers on it, and we made the same amount of profit, but she sold more shirts for the same amount of profit. And I was like, you know what? When it comes down to it, I would rather sell more shirts and have more people rocking my merchandise in the world and enjoying the shirts for the same amount of profit. I'm fine with that. So I lowered my shirt prices down this time. So they're cheaper this time by like $10. So if you want to get one, now's the time to get one. Just saying. But if you can't afford to get one right now, I totally understand that too. I tell you, I got I got to roll my new clothes in with it. Go ahead and order me a couple shirts while I'm ordering shirts for everybody else. Print me up a shirt or two while I'm at it, because gotta rock my own merch. J Man says I froze for a minute, but still got some of it. And oh no, that's the same comment from Max. If anybody else can see me, let me know. Drop a comment in there and let me know if you can see me or not. Because right now it's only showing me one viewer. Look at my page. See, so uh, yeah, yeah, it shows me live. So, oh, Lord Forrest, I'm definitely getting a shirt this time. Awesome, man. Awesome. I hope it helps folks who've been wanting to get one, because it only makes sense, man. You want to have as many people out there rocking your stuff as you can get, man. If you got folks that want to wear it, we need to make it as easy as possible to wear it. That's what you got to do. All right, good. I'm fine on your end. That's good to know. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been nothing but internet problems and stuff over here, which the rains and stuff coming through certainly didn't help. And living in central Arkansas probably doesn't help either, because we're kind of out in the we're not way out in the sticks, but we don't have like buried fiber optic lines or anything. Our lines are running through the trees, where any old branch can fall and take it down. Nothing more fun than just developing an alien on the fly. That'll really check your creativity there. And then you got to remember how that worked and what you were thinking when you made their weird body mechanics and everything, so that you can draw them in 3D from all kinds of different angles down the road, because you know that dude's going to show up in the next panels. But that's Future Fishy's problem. He'll figure it. He always does. I zig and he learns to zag. Silly old Future Fishy. I've been debating. I was thinking of this building as like stucco or concrete or adobe or something, like a solid block of something, whatever it is. Maybe it's styrofoam. I don't know. I haven't decided what I want the floor to be. I don't know if I want to make the floor wood or if I want to make it like metal panels or what. Like, I want it to be Wild West tavern, but like not crazy Wild West. I want it to be like futuristic and old fashioned and like, because this is Wonderland. This is all points in time and space crashing together from different realities. So, oh yeah, man, it is so cool to watch other people draw and see like how other people ink and see like how tight some people are with their stuff and how loosey goosey other people are. And this is actually ridiculously tight for me. For some reason, like I've been taking a whole second pass at the pencils on all the faces and stuff, just to make it that extra bit nicer. I've really been thinking about how my work represents me and stuff lately, and I want to make sure this Alice is my flagship book. I want to make sure that it looks as good as possible. So I've taken a whole second pass at all the faces on this and really tightened things up. Where normally I would have just done it in ink and been fine with it. But I don't want to have any faces in this book. I'm like, yeah, I could have done that better. I want to make them as good as I can the first time around. I feel bad about it later. So I'm working extra hard on it this time. All right, let's see. Turn off the old orange pencil lines. Look at that. We got us a fancy inked page. We could turn the letters on for a brief moment there. Normally I ink backwards, but I ink with the page flipped this way. But because I did two passes on the pencils, I already flipped the page when I did that second pass of pencils. So now technically when I'm inking it the normal way, I'm inking reverse of that just to help me find any little mistakes. Because when you flip the page, all the little mistakes make come out so obvious. Uh, Cyberpunk is so cool because it's a good mix of old stuff with new tech, and it just works. Yeah, absolutely. You know what? Let me see. I'm going to select all of the floor. Sure, yeah, okay, that's all selected. And now I am going to make a new thing just so I can put it in a folder. And then the folder, I am going to mask off outside. So okay, now just that shows up. So now anything I put in that folder is going to automatically be masked off. And now let me import pattern and let's see how a couple of my more techie patterns. Look, let's try the octagon more. See how that works. And now we'll go to transform. So stretch it, moves it. I likes to move it, move it. I likes to. Hmm, that feels a little busy. I'll leave it as a possibility though. I'll turn it off for now. And then I'm going to import another pattern from image. Nope. You know what? I'm just going to import an image. I know which one I'm going to bring in next. Let's see. A, B, C, D. I know my alphabet, more or less. All right. Let's, okay, that's not bad. That's not bad, and that's not. I don't think that comes off as too much. Like the other was a little too busy, but that gives the vibe of wood planks because it's got a lot of those lines going back and forth across the page like wood planks, but it's not straight wood planks. I would have never thought of flipping the page, but that makes a lot of sense. It's like that idea of seeing something from a different perspective. Oh, dude, if I can give you one bit of advice, it is absolutely flip the page. Man, that's why I customized my toolbar up here and put it as a main tool up here that I can just click on because I use it so much. I was working on a sculpture years ago. I was working on this tiger, and something just didn't look right on this tiger, and I couldn't figure it out. And I was asking a buddy of mine to take a look at it and be honest with me, like, what's wrong with it? He's like, it looks pretty good, but have you mirrored it? And I was like, what do you mean mirror it? Like, I'm not making a whole nother one. And he was like, no, have you stuck it in a mirror and looked at it? And I thought he was crazy. I walked in the bathroom of his little workshop he was working out of, and I held it up in the mirror. Automatically, you could see that one eye was down over here and one of the ears was like up over here. It was crooked as all get out. I couldn't see it normally because that part of your brain that's designed for pattern recognition and will like see a face in a plate of bacon and eggs or in the back of a car bumper, with the headlights and stuff, that part of our brain that's designed to recognize faces, if we get it close enough, that part of our brain will just say, "Oh yeah, that's a face, no problem. That's what it is." We've got to actually like when you flip it over, all the little mistakes that you made become super obvious. And like the fact that your eyes were off centered from each other, or one ear was bigger than the other, or it was too far up, or one hand was way bigger than the other, suddenly becomes super obvious when you flip it. So it's just become a part of my process now. Like I do my pencils, then I flip the page to ink it, and then when I flip it back to color it, if there's any little things that still show up wrong when I flip it back, because sometimes I end up completely redrawing the face after I flipped it because the eyes were off and the whole head was skewed and wonky or whatever. And so by the time I fixed it, it's completely different than what I started with. So when I flip it back again, if the eyes are a little crooked or something, that's the time to fix it and then color it and be done with it. So huge, huge help. Huge help. Cannot, cannot recommend it enough. Absolutely need to do it. 100%. And if you want to customize these toolbars up here and add custom stuff to it, like I added the free transform on here and the mesh transform and register image material, like I put all this stuff up here on my menu bar because I use it all the time. All you got to do is right click on it and then command bar settings, and then you can go down. These are all the menus across here. Any tool that is in here, like animation, timeline, um, insert frame, make a new timeline, I could have that tool show up right here if I wanted to. If I want to put that on my custom toolbar, that's how you do it. You would just click on that, like say new timeline, click add, it would put it right there on the end of it. I don't want to put that up there, so I'm not going. But yeah, just right click on it and boom, you can customize that to exactly what you need it to be. And you need to customize your workspace to be exactly what you need it to be. It'll make your workflow go so much faster. Like I make custom actions over here for all the things that I do regularly. Like I have one for color layers, which above my reference layer will give me a flat layer, just a raster layer for colors, and then it'll have a layer set to screen turned yellow, so I know that's my screen layer. It'll have one set to purple and multiply for my shadows, and just click that button and boom, it does that automatic stuff over again. Flat reference layer, when I bring in my flats from my flatter, it's a Photoshop file. I import that Photoshop file. When I click that button, it does the series of things that I had to do manually before. It rasterizes that down into a flat layer instead of a Photoshop file. It sets it as my reference layer. It locks it so I can't mess it up. And then it makes a new raster layer above it for my colors. And so instead of having to click all those buttons, I just click that one, boom, automatic action done for me. Uh, all of this stuff is things that if I catch myself doing something repeatedly over and over again and getting tired with how many steps it takes to do that, I make myself an auto action to make that a whole lot easier. So just a little bit of advice from your Uncle Fishy today. Let's see. To do, do, uh, all right. Okay, so we got that page done. We gonna save it. We're gonna turn the old letters off. We're gonna flip it back to the normal way. And then we are, let's see, I'm gonna rasterize that image. And then because I do it all the time, I'm gonna convert brightness to opacity. That's why I put that up there because I use it all the time. And then I'm gonna export this as a transparent PNG for my flatter. And sure it's 600 DPI, because sometimes I've accidentally sent her stuff at 300 DPI that I usually do for like um, proofs and stuff to look at, so they'll open up easier, quicker, and um, and then if I send it to her, if I accidentally send her that 300 DPI file, she will flat that 300 DPI file. And then when I try and blow it up to 600 DPI to use it as a reference, it'll have all these jagged lines that go in and out of the outlines. So I absolutely have to double check and make sure that I've got it at 600 DPI so it matches up to my line art at the format that I work at. It's just the way I work. Other people do it completely differently, and that's perfectly fine. Whatever works for you. I just found it easier personally to work at the finished size of the books that I'm going to be doing, but work at a high resolution. So that way I can zoom in, and I can zoom in way further than I need to be able to. I shouldn't be able to zoom in this far if I was doing it. If I was doing it with paper, I wouldn't be able to zoom in. I wouldn't be able to get any closer than that. This is have to deal with what you deal with. Sometimes I get lost and I get way too far in here and make the details way too tight, and then you zoom out and you can't see any of it. So, yeah, try not to zoom in too much. That's always a problem. But that's just one of the issues with digital. Like you can't do it physically because you can't. You can only get as close to the page as you can get. But I like being able to work at a high resolution. I like being able to have that detail, and you never know. You absolutely never know when, like, this splash page that I just did might end up making a really awesome poster.
Fish, here is a
And
reminder. You need to set up tomorrow's show.
that's enough. I always see my business over there. You never know when a sketch you're doing is going to end up being the banner that you take with you to all the shows. Like the first cover for Green Zone with Virgil holding that plaque and standing in front of the height chart. That was just a sketch I did just to draw Virgil, just to get a feel for it. I just drew it for TikTok so I would have a time lapse video to put on TikTok to try and advertise that I was working on this book that was going to come out one day. And it ended up coming out really good. It ended up becoming the cover of the book. And that artwork ended up becoming the banner that I have behind me at shows, standing 7 feet tall. But because I work at 600 DPI, I could take this 10 and something inches tall image that I worked on at 600 DPI. I could blow that up to an 11 by 17 poster and it looks fine. I could blow it up to a 7 foot tall banner to have behind my head and it looks fine. Um, you might not want to get this close to it, but it looks fine for the banner for walking by. Absolutely great. Um, I'm sorry it was freezing up on the end, man. There's been a bunch of issues with the internet. Like I've had my stuff freeze up. I was just on Rodney Fike's Throwdown show earlier today, and it froze up on me in the middle. I had to I had to restart my computer and everything to get it going again. I've been on shows lately where other people have frozen up, but then also these storms have just been going through the country too. So, yeah, it's tough stuff out there sometimes. All right, let's come here. Work on the next old page. We're going to turn off them letters so we don't give too much away. And then we're going to lower down. Now, see, now here's what I'm going to say. This was my original pencils, and it was in several layers because, like, I drew Big Ten on one layer and this guy on one layer and her on one layer so I could move them around. And usually this is what I would ink from. Like I would take this that I drew normally and then I would flip it and I would just ink over that, and what we get is what we get. But because I've been trying to do a better job, I've been trying to do my absolute best job on this book. I want it to be as great as it can be. I lowered down the opacity of that and I made a new layer, flipped the page as it is right now, and then went back and drew over it on a different colored layer. I set the layer color to orange for this one. So I know I don't get confused with blue on blue. And I went back and drew over it. And so now I have these much, much tighter pencils. And if I was penciling for somebody else to ink, this is what I would do for them. I would take a second pass. I'm not giving them my scribbly mess. That would be crappy. But I would redraw over everything and give them essentially ink it and give them some really nice lines to work off of. So I redrew all this, but I redrew it flipped. So now I'm flipping back to normal and I'm going to ink it, which is a little weird for me. But, you know, that flipping it back and forth helps me see if anything comes out looking weird, like something in her eyes that is bothering. Just let's see, move that if I think it's, and that's just a small little tweak, but it helps things jump out and helps me see if anything looks weird when you have to when you flip it again. So, all right, there we go. We're going to start inking now. Now I'm going to make me a vector layer and I'm going to set my layer color to black because for me, in my shortcuts in the way I work, I know when I look at this black layer, I know that's an ink layer. And I don't have to click on it and turn off a bunch of layers to try and figure out is it a color layer or a shadow layer. I color my layers because I could label them. Labeling them takes longer, and honestly, the words are so small, it's kind of hard for me to read all the time. Like my eyes aren't always the freshest. Sometimes they're tired, and those little layer names are kind of blurry. I can see that black nice and clearly. I can spot that quickly without having to read through a bunch of layer names. So I have yellow for my highlight layers, purple for my shadows, black for my pencil lines, and if I have a whole bunch of black for my ink lines, and if I have a bunch of pencils, I will like grab that layer and I will make it blue. So I know that's my pencils and I don't get confused about it. But anyway, that's my ink layers. So let's get to ink. I have, I might need to go pretty soon if I'm going to hop on with Ralph, if he hasn't already started. The time differences, usually I'm pretty good about it, but then sometimes my brain's just like, you sure about that? That's the joys of dyscalculia, boys and girls. It's fun for everyone, except for me and anybody I'm doing a show with that I have to repeatedly ask them what time the show is because I can never trust myself that I have it right. On our regular Friday night show that we do every Friday, it was probably a year into doing the show before I finally quit asking Tony what time the show was. And that was really only because I set up a bunch of alarms to go off that went off at the same time. I really like inking on stream and stuff. Like I like doing the work and being able to talk with folks about what I'm doing. The part I don't like is when I go back and listen to it later, or I'm trying to cut it up into snippets for advertisements or TikTok videos or whatever, and hearing all of my breathing ticks on there where I hold my breath and then gasp for air or whatever, sigh. Like, man, I hate that, but it's Tourette's for you. I can't control that stuff. Some gills. Its ears should be. Because why not? Everybody needs little gills. This is such a cool looking character. I hate what TS did to him in the script. I'll have to bring his brother back or something. Or something. Have him come looking for justice. That would be cool. Let's see. Show. So I'm probably going to have to get off of here pretty soon. How could you bucks, he says. No, that didn't work. I need to get back to doing my art stream more regularly. I miss doing it. I've been letting ticks get the better of me lately. Stress me out into not doing it. I need to stop that foolishness. All right. Short. Let's see if I'm gonna have enough fuel left in the tank to go hang out with old Ralph on Grit Ralph. Grit Sins, Grit Apple, or whichever one it is he's doing. It's always a good time with Ralph. You there. We can chit chat today. We figured, you know, alien from an alien world. Hexagonal dog tags just made sense. I'm going to say they're in two different languages. Because why not? It's my multiversal madness. I could do what I want. It's my wonderland and I'll make it crazy as I want to. Oh, you screwed that up, fishy. That's why we work in vector layers, boy. So we don't have to do that kind of craziness. We can change the size of things if we want to. Process the whole line, boy, like it's your first day. Embarrassing yourself in front of the Jamie. Can't do that. How will we ever show our face on the interwebs again? Free Saturday. I ain't free right now. What are you talking about? Saturday. Show Saturday. Absolutely, we can talk about Alice. I know he can't hear me. Somebody can pass the message along for sure. I'm sitting here answering him on the show. He's not watching like some kind of idiot. So I can idiot us. All right, here we go. That's as far as we're gonna get right now, cause I need to get over and I need to hit the head and get a new drink and holler at my buddy Ralph and check it out over there. So if y'all want to go check out the Written Sins uh, channel on YouTube's and whatnot, or the Bit and Apple podcast. I can't remember what the channel's under. It's one of those two. But anyway, I'm gonna go try and hang out with him for a little bit. So thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you, Lord Forrest and J Man, and everybody for chatting. Thank you, Katie, for coming to hang out. And I will see you guys later.